What's up, guys? My name's Lewis, and I'm with andnowjustlisten, and we're here for the news you knew already for the week of August 29th, 2016. Not a whole lot going on this week, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter video. Got a couple news stories and some releases for you, as always, so let's just jump right in. Alright, up first on the docket, PlayStation has finally got two-factor authentication for their services. That means if you want some extra security, you can have the PlayStation login system send a text message to your phone with a randomly generated code that you have to input in order to log in. It's a really nice extra layer of security, so it's harder to hack into your account, which is something that happens on occasion on the PlayStation Network, and Sony has been a little bit notorious being hard to deal with when that happens, so I highly recommend you go into your PlayStation 3, 4, Vita, whatever, and get it set up. There wasn't a whole lot of fanfare from Sony about doing this because a lot of people have had two-factor authentication for a really long time, so they're a little bit late to the party. So just wanted to make sure everybody knows, and you should probably get that set up on your account real soon. Up next, the Battlefield 1 beta is starting soon, and starting a little bit sooner for those of you that are insiders. Those who have signed up with the insider program will have access to the beta starting on August 30th. Everybody else gets access on August 31st, so it's not too much of a head start, but those of you who are signed up can hop in at that time. I will be doing my best to check out that beta. I'm a little bit curious about what the whole World War I style game is going to feel like, and it looks real pretty. So I'll be checking that out, and hopefully we'll be covering that on our podcast and some other places as well. Alright, I told you it was a short week this week. Up last is Destiny news. Rise of Iron is coming up, and as always, when new expansions come out, the weekly activities like Trials of Osiris often go on break for a little bit. And that's happening real soon. Next week will be the last week of Trials of Osiris on the current generation consoles until Rise of Iron begins, and then it will kick back in at some point after Rise of Iron's been out. Usually it waits a while so that people aren't grinding out endgame gear immediately. That being said, the other news is that this weekend is the last weekend for Trials of Osiris on the legacy consoles. So the Xbox 360 and PS3 will no longer have Trials of Osiris after the reset on Tuesday. If you are playing on those consoles, get it in while you can, and maybe think about upgrading to new systems if you enjoyed Destiny, because Rise of Iron is going to be on the new consoles only. That's going to do it for the news this week. Not a whole lot going on when I pulled source for the video, so we'll kick it over to some releases. Alright, there's a lot of releases this week, but not too much of note, I would say. The three games that I'd like to highlight for this week are the Resident Evil 4 remake for the Xbox One and PS4. I know that that's a beloved game, and there are lots of people excited about a upgraded version of that. Upgraded versions of the original Resident Evil have done really well, and so I would expect this one to do well as well. That's coming out on August the 30th. And I would also like to highlight a little game called the Turing Test. That's coming out on the Xbox One and PC on the 30th as well. That's a bit of a first-person puzzle game that explores some philosophical ideas, it sounds like, and themes of consciousness was something discussed in the press release. And that game looks neat, and I am hopefully going to be checking that out for myself. So keep it locked here, and maybe I'll have a review of that game a little bit down the line. We'll see what happens. But last for this week's releases, I would like to highlight the World of Warcraft expansion, Legion. It's coming to PC and Mac, obviously, and that's coming out on the 30th of August as well. It's got a new class and, the usual new WoW trappings. People, I think, seem to be excited. I don't know. I get yelled at a lot when I talk about WoW on these videos, so I won't say too much. But yeah, a new expansion for WoW's coming out, and some interesting story cutscenes, it looks like. There was, a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, one of the cinematics got leaked, and it seemed like it was a big deal. I don't know a ton about WoW lore again, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. The last one did okay and then kind of petered out, I think, but we'll see how Legion does. And yeah, that's it for this week in news and releases. Thanks so much for tuning in again. As always, it's great talking to you. And if you want to catch more, hit the sub button, like the video. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. We have a podcast you can catch on Wednesdays called And Now Just Listen. It's on all the podcast places, and we have a blog, andnowjustlisten.wordpress.com, for reviews, articles, and blog stuff. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you guys again next week for more news.